Dana Schwartz, and this is Rise or Die, the official companion podcast for Peacock's original series, Those About to Die. On this podcast, I go behind the scenes with the show's cast and creators to learn how they brought their brutal vision of Rome to life.
Gosh, people will freak out.
Rise or Die launches on July 18th. Watch or listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Do you know what lies within nothing?
No.
Do you know where it ends? Do you want to know?
Yes. Counterbalance, a high fantasy audio drama. Season 2, coming 15th of October 2023. Learn more on trilunas.com.
Hello, dear friends. As you may know, Friday, March 10th was the 20th anniversary of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the television series debuting in the United States. In observation of this global holiday, I wrote a special song called Demons to Fight, inspired by my personal experience of being impacted by the show. You can download that song for free by visiting bufferingthevampireslayer.com.
It's really good.
Oh, thanks.
It really is. It's so great. And thank you for writing it.
Thanks for making me write it.
I did make you write it. Before we get into today's episode, the other thing that we want to let you know is that we have new merchandise. I say that hesitantly because we have sold through 2 runs of the new shirts thus far. We have a new shirt that says Just Keep Fighting, designed by Allison Weiss, and a new shirt that says Smash the Demon Lizard Patriarchy, designed by Isabella Rotman. They are in our store, which you can find by going to that same website, bufferingthevampireslayer.com, and just clicking on store. And we are doing our best to keep them in stock. Thank you so much for the overwhelming response. The designs by both of those 2 people were phenomenal, and we love them just as much as you. And we also have a brand new pin in the store that is taken from the design from Christine Tuna. It's a little moon with a little stake and a little hand. It's
Yay.
enamel and it rules. So you can go on over and get yourself some buffering merch if you want. And if it's out of stock, just be patient. Follow us on Twitter or on Facebook at BufferingCast, and we will let you know when we restock those items. We're doing our best.
Yes. Okay, so with all of that under our belts, let's do this. Good day and welcome to Buffering the Vampire Slayer,
Good day.
podcast.
She said good day.
where we'll be
She
watching
changed it up, folks.
and discussing every episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, one by one. I am Jenny Owen Youngs.
And I am Kristen Russo, and this week we are talking about Season 2, Episode 9, What's My Line, Part 1. Stay tuned at the end of this podcast every week for an original song written by us, recapping the Buffy episode we are discussing.
What's My Line, Part 1, was written by Marty Noxon!
Marty Noxon!
And Howard
first.
Gordon. And Howard Gordon.
Sorry, and Howard Gordon. I'm just excited about Marty Noxon.
Me too. And directed by David Solomon. It originally aired on November 17th, 1997.
Wow.
Just a few days before my 16th birthday?
Yeah. Aw.
Wow. Cool.
That's so sweet. This is the one where Spike brings in 3 professional bounty hunters to eliminate Buffy while she ponders on what her profession might be if her fate wasn't already sealed.
Dun dun dun.
Dun-dun-dun. It's been very hard lately to watch the first part of these 2-part episodes and not watch the second episode.
Mm-hmm.
We did a live Buffy watch to celebrate the anniversary, and we watched Welcome to the Hellmouth, and it was almost impossible to not continue with the harvest. I was like, Luke, what's going to happen? He's in the crypt with the... Okay. But that's that episode, and this is this episode.
Kristen just wants a Luke prequel spin-off series.
I would watch a Luke spin-off series so hard. So hard.
Wow.
I would. I love Luke.
Speaking of so hard,
Oh,
you know
boy.
what's tough? Having to endure career week when you've already been fated
Aw.
as the chosen one
Yeah.
to slay vampires for the rest of your natural life.
This is like how elementary schools do, like, bring your mom to work day, or bring your mom to school day. Like, they do like Mother's Day celebrations, but some
Mhm.
kids like don't have a mom, or they have two dads, or like whatever, and they're like, what do I do on this day? Because no one took my family structure into consideration.
Mhm.
And this is what's happening to Buffy here. Buffy is like, the fuck, guys? Like, why didn't you take into consideration the fact that there might be a slayer in your midst
Mhm.
who can't have a career because she will either be dead or still slaying vampires, you know?
I don't know if this will help Buffy feel any better. Probably not. But career week seems like kind of a sham.
Yeah, Xander calls it out right at the jump, like right at the start. Xander is like, I don't understand how these tests that we're taking could possibly determine who we're going to be for the rest of our lives, which he's saying in the context of career week, but I heard, whatever, as a commentary on standardized testing.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah.
Though
great
I
point.
have a lot of feelings about standardized testing, don't we all? But I come on, we do. You don't
Yes.
have feelings?
No,
about-
I do have feelings about, but the idea of standardized testing as something that like a lot of people have like very passionate feelings about, just like I'm just not sure.
I mean, a lot of people have either been to school or have been to school and also have kids in school. So
Okay,
I
okay.
think I'll throw down on it. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
no need to throw down.
I went to a school that was very anti-standardized testing. And so I think I've had it in my brain for a long time that making people take tests to measure their aptitude is a pretty tricky thing. And I agree with you that for careers, it's super tricky as well. How do you, come on.
Do you like shrubs?
You-
I mean, it's so. There's a prison guard booth specifically. Like, it just seems like it's like 2 micro and 2 macro simultaneously.
Wow. But here we are. And you know
Talking
who
about it
loves Career
anyway.
Day? Principal Snyder.
Well, I don't know if he loves it so much as he endures it and embraces it as something children don't like.
Right. Well,
Maybe?
I think that's what it is. I think that Principal Snyder loves any time that he has authority over the students and can make them feel horrible about themselves,
Right.
which happens here. But let's start at the beginning. So we enter this episode in the classic fashion of a banner pan down. We focus in on Career Day, and then we pan down. And I remember this move from Halloween because we focused in on the jack-o'-lantern sale, whatever
Right,
it was. It was
right.
like Bob's Pumpkin Patch.
Yep. We
Pan
also
down.
may have seen a similar thing in Inca Mummy Girl at the
At
Natural
the
History Museum Cultural Exchange,
Exchange.
exhibition.
And who knows what we saw for the science fair? A
Yeah.
lot of, you got to give Sunnydale High School some credit. A lot of extracurricular activities.
Yeah. Also, remember when Buffy was painting that banner
Yeah.
for parent-teacher night?
Right? They love a banner. They love a good banner.
Well, think back on your high school experience
yeah,
and
a lot of banners.
the occurrence of banners. They were everywhere. You know who was always making banners at my school?
Who?
The cheerleading squad.
Oh, you were very observant of the cheerleading squad at your high school?
Well, not in like a
Uh-huh.
hey ladies way. It was because it was just a different time for me. I was like, cheerleaders, football,
Little
know?
did you know that that feeling was actually masking your true feeling, which was fear that at any moment they might break out into synchronized movements.
Yes, thus rendering me, out of control of my
Yeah.
mechanical functions.
You hate it. You hate when women move at the same time
It
in the same way.
disturbs me in ways I can't hope to explain. But
Willow
I
has-
also had like a weird fascination with the we don't have to get into my whole cheerleading squad thing.
Because you kind of wanted to be a cheerleader.
I didn't want to be a cheerleader, but like I wanted to kind of make fun of them for being cheerleaders, but like in a fun way. Like I wanted us to like all be in on the joke, and I wanted them to like make fun of me for being not a cheerleader.
You saw in your world a vision of, in your brain, a vision of a world where we could exist despite our differences.
Exactly.
And celebrate each other.
That's what I'm talking about, making fun of each other.
Yeah.
What a great world that would have been.
Good-natured ribbing.
Yes! I'm always in favor of a good-natured ribbing. Moving right along.
Kate is not with us this week, so I am going to carry the torch of talking about some fashion moments.
Carry that torch.
I will not. Please. Last week's fashion episode with the tweed, I'm done. I can't touch Kate's
That was extraordinary.
Genius. But I do want to say that I definitely was a Willow in this episode. Kristen, 1997, dressed very much like a Willow in this episode. She was wearing, right when she walked in, she had like maroon corduroys or maroon textured pants with a green sweater that had orange arms. It was like
the entire autumnal palette.
Exactly. If you were to set your table for Thanksgiving dinner, you'd use Willow's outfit.
Seriously.
Or Kristen 1997's outfit. I really went the same earth tony.
You can
route.
even reference, for accuracy, our recent refabrication of us as our 1997 selves in celebration of the Buffy 20th anniversary. You can find pictures of me and Kristen in our freshly purchased and freshly washed Salvation Army outfits.
We'll put that up on Patreon for everyone, so you don't have to be a supporter. You can just see it so that it's in a centralized location.
Kristen also bleached a streak in her hair, which
I did.
Very, very impulsively.
I was driving to go swimming, and I knew Jenny and I had planned for the 20th anniversary to go to the Salvation Army to purchase clothing, because that's what we did in high school. That's where we got our clothing in high school, both of us and many people in the 90s. And we were going to, get as close to how we looked on March 10th, 1997 for the live watch that we did together with many of you. And I was like, I'm going to go swimming and then I'll meet you at the Salvation Army. And I'm driving to go swimming. And on my way, I'm like, what would I have worn in 1997? Like trying to brainstorm. And all of a sudden it hit me, oh my God, in 1997, I would have had my blonde streak. I had one streak of hair. If you are familiar with my so-called life, you will remember a character named Rayanne Graff, who I was obsessed with in high school, and I wanted to be just like her, and I was much more an Angela Chase, but I wanted to be a Rayanne, just like Angela Chase, and I dyed my hair just like her. I got a blonde streak, and I had it for years. I think I did it in 1996 or maybe even 1995, and I had it until about 2003 or something, maybe even longer.
Wow.
It was a really big trademark of me. It was like my thing. And then I let it grow out at some point and I never got it back. And then, I think about it all the time. And I was like, maybe I'm too old now to have like a blonde streak in my hair. And I've been back and forth like a fool, like a silly fool.
Oh, just waiting for permission.
Waiting for permission from who? And then I had this moment where I was like, oh my God, I have to do this. I literally I have to do it right now. So I Yelped a salon and found one. I called them. They were like, one streak, we'll do that for $30. And I was like, score, made an appointment, texted Jenny and was like, meet me at the salon at 1:30.
Oh my God.
And there we went. And now I have a blonde streak.
Was so great.
And I feel like I've come back to myself.
It looks tremendous.
I'm not even like,
it looks so great.
Maybe via podcast I sound like I'm being facetious in a way, and I'm not. I feel like I have returned to myself in a way that I cannot describe. So I can't see it going anywhere anytime soon.
Great.
Anyway, thank you for taking that blonde streak tangent with me.
Yeah.
But I have Buffy to thank.
Thanks, Buffy.
I already had so many things to thank Buffy for, and now I can thank you for another thing, Buffy, for helping me find myself in another way, a hair dyeing way.
Oh,
and I appreciate that.
I appreciate it too from the from the person who's not you, who gets to look at your blonde streak all day.
Right. Thank you.
It's great. I love it.
Thank you so much.
So Cordelia is mean to Xander. Buffy doesn't know if she likes shrubs. Buffy's also very grumpy.
Yeah, no, everyone's grumpy in this episode.
This is a big grump episode.
Everyone is on edge. Giles is on edge. He yells at Xander. Buffy is on edge. She yells at everyone. Angel is on edge.
Mm-hmm.
Who else? Spike.
Very. Grumpy.
So grumpy. He snaps at Drusilla, which is so sad, but so hilarious. Drusilla really reminded me of myself when Jenny does something like that to me, like very, very dramatically wounded, like you'll snap at me and I'll be
know.
like, no. And then I wilt like a flower.
Yes, you do.
And it works every time.
Well,
Just like it worked for Drusilla.
yeah.
Well, so also when we see Spike and Drusilla, we meet a new vampire who I have named Harry Potter Vamp. He's the Harry Potter Vamp. He's got little spectacles. He's very smart.
Little sweater vest.
Studious.
Yeah. His name is Dalton, but let's just call him HPV. Wait.
Well, good old HPV on the scene.
Always there when you need him.
Oh, wow. Jokes about STIs are my favorite.
Great.
Okay,
Great. I love his squeak when Spike yanks him up from the chair. So great.
And then, Spike and Drusilla have this moment, right, where Spike snaps at Drew and Drew gets very sad. And Drusilla is using her tarot cards, which we read a little bit about the tarot cards that Marty Noxon was like, I don't really know about tarot cards, so I'm going to make them fit
put whatever I need on them.
I would like this to be on the tarot cards. I'm curious to hear if any of you, I'm sure that a lot of you know a lot about tarot who are listening. So I would be curious to hear your thoughts. If you have some thoughts on that tarot deck that we see in this episode, write at us and let us know what you're thinking. Because
it's very beautiful.
It is gorgeous. And tarot, tarot decks, I don't know a lot about them, but I have had a few in my life. And they are very varied, and people do take, I think, big artistic liberties with portraying the thing that is supposed to be on the card. So I read that little thing about the tarot deck, but I'm not 100% behind it yet. And that's why I want to hear from somebody who knows more about tarot, because I think you are, allowed to take certain liberties with the illustrations so long as the general idea of the card is there. But I don't know. I'm just making stuff up, as I do.
It sounded really convincing.
Yeah, I can also do that.
I wonder what the centipede card might mean under other circumstances.
Yeah, the centipede card is the one that gives me the most pause. But the tiger card, I feel like...
pretty sure it's a jaguar?
I'm sorry. Jaguar card. I want you to know, listeners, that probably 70% of my relationship to Jenny is misnaming large cats and being corrected. It's true.
No.
Yeah, okay, fine. But at least 10%.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyhow, the thing that I was leading to was Spike and Drusilla, after this moment of snapdom, come together in the sweetest, most loving way. I love their love so much. Spike, right before the credits, Spike picks Drusilla up and spins her around in his arms because she wanted to dance, but she's too weak to dance, you guys.
Oh my God, it's really nice.
Oh, I love it.
And also kind of mirrors all of the spinning that Buffy does later when she's skating at the ice rink by herself.
True.
Buffy on ice.
Jenny, I know you've written a lot of songs lately.
Yes,
I know there's
so
been a lot
many.
of music, a lot of Buffy music in your life lately, but I just want to say that Spike certainly has a jingle coming his way. I know a lot of you are impatient for the Spike jingle. We will give you the jingle when
he earns it.
Yes, and he's not there yet. But I think that Spike and Drusilla deserve a collective love jingle.
Wow.
I feel stronger about their love at this point than I feel about anybody else's love.
Wow.
So, that's a lie, except for Giles and Ethan Rain. But besides Giles and Ethan Rain, number one love, Spike and Drusilla. So just think on it.
Okay, I'm going to have a think.
Great.
And we'll see if anything comes up. Great.
So, okay.
More songs. Great.
So the credits, right?
Yes.
We're only 20 minutes in. It's like the more we do this podcast, the more I have to say about every episode. By season 7, each episode will be like
segmented.
Four parts.
Okay.
So here's HPV stealing across.
Yeah. Buffy's all like, huh? Vampires stealing.
Yeah.
And then she kills one, but then HPV gets away.
Right.
And you know what I really liked in the scene that I don't think we've seen before? She dusts that vamp, and then we see the dust splash into the little fountain pool.
I liked that.
Great touch.
Some metaphysics right there.
Extreme metaphysics.
Yeah. And then Buffy crawls through her window despite Joyce being away in Los Angeles on art business.
Art biz.
And
By force of habit.
In her room is Angel.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Buffy, you scared me, said Angel while clutching a small stuffed pig to his bosom. The fuck?
Wow, first mention of Angel's bosom in our podcast.
But hopefully not the last.
Yeah, it's a great moment. I really love Angel in this like period of time. I really enjoy the like Angel falling for Buffy, Buffy falling for Angel.
Yeah.
It's very sweet and very endearing.
They're just a regular kid and her cradle robbing creature of the night boyfriend.
It's so nice though that they have like a humorous rapport around this, you know?
It's great.
They understand who they are to each other. And this scene is really important. Actually, I think this episode is a very important episode for Buffy and Angel because, you know, we've seen Buffy say she loves Angel and like obviously their relationship is developing, but there's something really specific about their scenes in this episode.
Yeah.
This scene in the bedroom where like he's looking at pictures of her as a kid and she's telling him how, what do you have to say? You can't even
Hey, romantica.
Okay, that's all you had to get out?
Yeah.
She like was like jumping up and down in her seat.
No, I was thinking about later how when they're at the ice rink after they've fought with the Terraka dude, how Buffy is like, oh, this cut over your eye, and Angel's like, you shouldn't have to touch me when I'm in vamp face. And then Sarah Michelle Gellar spreading it on like somebody ordered fucking triple extra mayo on their goddamn sandwich. I didn't even notice. Like touching his face and fucking just turning it up to 11.
Yes, I'm into it. Turn it up to 17.
Yeah. No, I mean, has she turned 17 yet?
She's about to.
Thank God.
But yeah, that was the other scene that I was going to reference. But in the bedroom too, you know, it's like that moment that you have when you start dating a person and you get to a place where you start talking about your childhood.
Yeah,
and like,
yeah.
You know, you're starting
and then they're like, there's an ice rink out on Route 17.
It's closed on Tuesdays.
And then you're like, tomorrow's Tuesday.
But yeah,
what are the odds?
God, you know, I'm just sitting here trying to have a serious moment, and old ba-dum-bum-cha over in the corner.
It's both serious and hilarious.
It is. But yeah, I feel that a lot happens between these two, and you know, but also Buffy is super snappy to Angel, like we discussed, very snappy. Also, Angel has a moment that I love where Buffy's like, oh, well, this stuff is going on at school. And Angel's like, career week? And she looks at him like, yeah, what? And he's like, I lurk. Which is just, again, calling out what we know to be true about Angel. He's always lurking around some corner like a creep.
Since it seems like Sunnydale High School never closes, it just empties and darkens and then, you know, repopulates.
Yeah.
But is never locked.
Mm-hmm.
I like to picture Angel sort of walking through the halls at like 2 a.m, looking through all of like the art classes, like work that's hung up in the hallway, like looking for Buffy's
seeing if it's
like
him.
still life.
Yeah, seeing if like she's drawn his face.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Or an empty mirror.
Oh my God, an empty mirror.
To symbolize his face.
Wow.
Great. So back to the high school. Speaking of the high school, everybody learns their career assignments.
Do you buy Xander as a prison guard?
No.
Here's the only, like the worst possible, like right now Xander is 16. He could go anywhere. He could develop in so many different ways, and we'll see him develop in the way that he does develop per the canon of the story. But I could see Xander ending up working at like Litchfield prison. Like I could see him being a guard at like a women's prison and being like he could either be the guy that gets Daya pregnant, or he could be spoilers for Orange is the New Black. Or he could be Porn Stash. Like
I think he would be Porn. The Porn Stash is a nice. Does anyone else call him Porn Stash?
Yeah, that's what they call him on the show.
Okay, I just panicked that was our nickname for him.
No.
Okay.
No, he's bad.
He's complicated,
damaged.
He's right, exactly. He's bad. Of course, he's bad, but I think that might be an interesting. Okay, whatever. You know what? Enough.
The
Xander.
point is,
we don't need to get 700,000 more emails about Xander.
I can't wait for more Xander emails. That folder's really filling up in our inbox.
We
Xander
literally
emails.
have a Xander email inbox file. But anyway, moving right along, the one thing I did want to talk about in this career conversation that they have in this moment is that Buffy gets assigned to law enforcement. And I just thought it was something to be noted that the way that they describe law enforcement here is polyester, donuts, and brutality.
Yeah.
Because we're in 1997, and I think a lot of people, especially if you're a younger person just visiting the series, maybe you think that the conversation around like police brutality and
Is new.
It's very, very old, much older than 1997. But I just thought it was interesting that, that line could have been written verbatim today and been just as relevant. Interesting is the wrong word. Totally fucked up. That's a better word, a collection of words. Then we go to the library, and there's Buffy being as 16 as she can be.
So 16. Snipping and snapping, talking about how she has no time to shop. She'd have as much time to shop if she were dead as she does now because of her Slayer duties.
Yep.
And then she says something about the whole 9 yards.
We looked it up, and turns out the reason that must have been in there and Giles didn't answer her right away of where that phrase came from is because kind of no one knows.
Nobody knows.
No one knows where the whole 9 yards came
Nobody
from.
knows.
People are like, maybe it came from, no one knows.
She also says, have a cow, Giles, which is not the common usage.
What's the common usage?
Don't have a cow, man.
Yeah, but she's saying that he is having a cow.
I think it's peculiar.
I think it's great writing.
I'm not saying it's not great writing.
No, I know.
I don't know what I'm saying.
I'm just saying it reminds me of the way you write lyrics,
Wow.
You like to turn things on their head.
It's just fucking turning it right around on me
I'm
here.
just saying that's the way you use words. It's a great way to use. I love to turn phrases inside out. It's great. Okay.
Says my wife.
Well, what I wanted to mention in this piece of the show is also the way that Giles and Buffy are interacting, because a lot of times, I mean, there is like a dadliness to it, but more than that, there's like an old married couple vibe to this exchange, where like they kind of get in like they get to a tense place, and then Giles is like, do we have to be introspective right now? Can we just focus on the cross?
Yeah.
Which reminded me of an old married couple because it reminded me of us.
Yeah, I was like, didn't we just end a conversation that way last night?
Right? Where like you start to get into your emotions, and then you're like, you know what? We do this every day. Let's skip the feelings today and
just
get to the
for
point.
One day.
Let's just get to the point. But yeah, there's a lot of Giles Buffy tension.
Then we go back to Spike's place.
Who's also snapping and snipping.
He's had some anger issues. He kicks a box. Also, Dalton bringing the wisdom.
You mean
the Slayer?
HPV.
HPV. The Slayer is trouble. Thank you, Dalton. Thank you for this helpful contribution to the conversation.
It's like as though he wouldn't have learned by now to not interrupt. I mean, to not like say anything about the Slayer, first of all, because it's an obvious trigger point for Spike.
For Spike, absolutely.
But like he's being romantic with Drusilla. Really bad timing, HBV.
Yeah. Also, Spike brings up calling on the Order of Terraka.
Yes.
And HPV is like, don't you think that's overkill? And Spike says, no, I think it's just enough kill. And I'd like to move, if the Order of Terraka is still in operation, I think maybe now would be a good time for them to adopt just enough kill.
Ooh, as their slogan?
Yeah.
Order of Terraka, just enough kill.
Yeah.
That's nice.
They could get t-shirts made.
Oh, that's so nice.
Little like caps.
Yeah, you should let Willie at the bar know. He'll communicate
Willie!
it. Yeah, it's our first time that we see Willie. I'm skipping ahead a little bit, but first time we meet Willie. We'll see Willie again.
He runs a demon bar, no big deal.
Yeah. But before we get to Willie, we get to Snyder. Snyder has a nice moment here.
Laying down a blanket of frost upon the children of Sunnydale.
Just coming in to tell Xander that he's stupid and that
a waste of air.
An airborne toxic event is the quote that he used. So sidebar, there's this little subplot that doesn't go anywhere in this particular episode, and I actually don't remember if it goes anywhere, where these two men in black, I call them, whisk Willow away to
behind the black velvet curtain that's been hung in front of the student lounge.
Yeah, where they're serving canapes.
Being served canapé by a guy in like a white, like tuxedo jacket butler outfit.
Yeah, and so
too fancy.
She's been selected to meet with the head of bliggity blah,
some software company,
along with Oz, who has
the best look.
The best look. He's holding the plate of snacks. He's
staring at them, and then he looks at her, And his moment of recognition, his neck like grows like 3 inches.
Yeah.
He's just like, what? It's that girl!
You're right. It's like you can see in his mind every moment that he said to date, who's
is
that
that
girl?
girl?
Click, click, click,
Yeah.
and there she is. So great. So great. So yeah, and then I go right to the Delac grave situation.
Sure. You don't want to mention that there's a pyramid tomb that they
Pyramid?
walk by in that cemetery.
Oh, didn't Greenwood Cemetery have a pyramid tomb or two?
I don't remember that, but I do know that Nicolas Cage either purchased a pyramid tomb or has like ordered. He
boy.
bought the space in a cemetery in
To
New Orleans to
build
build a large pyramid for himself.
That is interesting.
Yeah,
Is there like a magical purpose to that?
probably
Right? Okay.
It's probably something.
Well, I'm glad we talked about it. No, the thing that I like in this scene is this moment, and it was funny because I said earlier in the episode to Jenny, like, does anyone ever wonder, like, does Joyce ever ask Buffy why she's wearing a crucifix necklace? Or sorry, not a crucifix, a cross.
right, because we don't see them go to church.
Right, like we don't get a very strong like religious vibe coming from the Summers household. So, if your 16-year-old daughter who you haven't raised in, an extremely religious way is wearing a cross around her neck, it just seems like a point of conversation. But then I thought this was interesting because I felt my point was proven about their experience with religion when Giles is like, oh, this is the kind of place where they keep fingers or some other body parts of like saints. And Buffy says, note to self, religion, freaky.
Pretty great.
Which kind of underlines, right. But my point.
But I think in the 90s, people were wearing crosses regardless
Actually,
of their
you know what?
church attendance.
You're right.
Yeah.
You are correct, Jenny. I'm sorry I forgot. You're right. So Delac.
Right. So we find out that that the thing that was probably taken from the grave was a key to unlock the book that Giles had that was coded.
Yeah.
Support for today's episode comes from OneSkin. And if you have sensitive skin, you're going to want to hear about their scientifically proven topical supplements. Free from over 1,500 chemicals and preservatives that can make skin red, irritated, or itchy, their products are safe for sensitive skin. It's just one of the reasons they've earned the skin-safe seal of approval.
They've also earned the Jenny Owen Youngs and Kristen Russo seal of approval, if I do say so myself, Jenny.
I couldn't agree more. I've been using OneSkin for a few months, and after a few weeks, I remember it like it was yesterday. I texted Kristen, and I was like, maybe she's born with it. I looked in the mirror that morning and was like, oh, things are happening, and I am happy.
I have used a million billion skin products, and I did not think that I was going to switch off of the skin like lotion, the moisturizer that I used and the under eye cream that I use, because I have used them for a little while and I really like them. And I've switched completely, which is a pretty big deal. OneSkin is the world's first skin longevity company. By focusing on the cellular aspects of aging, OneSkin keeps your skin looking and acting younger for longer. Get started today with 15% off using code BUFFERING at oneskin.co. That's 15% off at oneskin.co with code BUFFERING. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them, and if you can, please tell them that we sent you.
As a podcast network, our focus is bringing you shows you love to listen to. But we also sell merch related to those shows. And partnering with Shopify has made that both possible and simple for us to do. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. Whether you're selling scented soap or offering outdoor adventures, Shopify helps you sell everywhere because they've got you covered, from their all-in-one e-commerce platform to their in-person POS system. What's so fantastic about Shopify is how, no matter how big you want to grow, they provide everything you need to get control of your business so you can take it to the next level. Businesses that grow, grow with Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm. That's all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/realm.
Yes.
Then we see
yes.
some Order of Terraka members arrive in Sunnydale. We see basically Sabretooth.
Yeah.
We see Sabretooth get off of a bus.
We see Worm Man.
Worm Man. Nathan Fister?
Yeah, and I remember, so I've only seen the series once, and I don't remember a lot of details. I remember this guy.
He makes an impression.
He really made an impression on me. As soon as I saw him, I was like, oh no, it's the guy whose arm is made of worms.
Oh, it's Norman Fister, sorry.
Norman Fister.
So he promptly moves into the house next door to Buffy. And then we see a beautiful woman in silk pajama bottoms emerge from the hold of a plane.
After knocking out the poor, innocent plane checker man.
Yes.
You know? But yeah, a beautiful lady in silken pajama pants.
Perfect.
I really do love her outfit.
It's amazing.
Fucking
She
solid,
looks incredible.
Solid clothing choices. Jenny said we weren't allowed to say. I feel like it's weird that we're not saying her name, and I just want to let you know it's because Jenny has a plan. She said to me before we started recording the episode, this is how I want to play it.
I just want to refer to her as a beautiful woman in silk pajama bottoms until we get to a certain point.
So
is that so wrong?
So no, it's not wrong, but I felt like I needed to lift the curtain.
Yeah, thank you. So then the Scoobies are in the library. Xander's making some jokes. Slay Slew, Cross-O-Matic.
Slay Slew is Willow. First of all.
Well, whatever. People are talking about stuff.
Cross-O-Matic is Xander, and Xander has a really great, or they all have a great moment after Xander makes his jokes, and he just like looks around the room.
They just fall with a thud, and everyone's like, do we have to acknowledge that just happened?
That's a great edit. They gave just enough time for everyone to see my favorite moment. Okay.
And they're all researching Dulac. And one of their sources, apparently, is an issue of National Geographic that Willow is reading, that Dulac was, I guess, featured in some way.
That checks out to me. It seems like the kind of story that National Geographic would cover. Do you think they had to get permission from National Geographic?
Don't know.
Probably, right? I don't think you can just put National Geographic on your show, which is awesome if they did have to check with National Geographic. And Nat Geo was like, yes,
we love your show.
We love your show. Put us on there. We would totally write an article about Dulac. And then Buffy is like, I gotta bounce because I gotta go ice skating.
And all the dudes are like, but you can't. And then Willow's like, oh, no, it's really important for her to leave and rest. Which is great. Helping out.
Helping a girl out. I also just want to make a note here. Buffy's wearing a different cross around her neck.
It's tiny.
From this point to the end of the episode, it's a small cross.
Yeah, maybe she's having the cross that Angel gave her polished at the silvery.
I wondered if there was like some significance. And I tried, we get emails from you guys so often that when I ask questions like this, people are like, well, Kristen, the red streak on his face was to mirror the blah, blah, blah. And it's so smart. And I'm like, man, they're always so smart. And so I sat and I thought and I thought and I thought. And I tried to think of a really smart reason why she would not have the big cross on and now she would have the small cross. And I couldn't do it. So I guess it's just not my role. It's yours. If you have some theories,
please let us know.
Or maybe they just lost the cross that day for shooting.
Could be.
The ice skating rink.
What a montage.
So,
flibbity-doo.
Sarah Michelle Gellar on her resume, professional ice skater. We learned with some cursory Googling that Darla, Julie Benz, but maybe both of them.
Right.
Julie Benz was ranked like the 12th best ice skater in the U.S. And then later, Michelle Trachtenberg had to learn how to be a great ice skater for a Disney thing in 2005.
Now, if you don't know who Michelle Trachtenberg is,
don't look it up.
Never mind.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Hold your horses.
So anyway,
Buffy is just skating her heart out, waiting for her BF to show up, when suddenly she's yanked out of the rink by the neck by
Terraka number 1.
Sabretooth. They're struggling. Then Angel shows up and he's like, I'm a vampire.
And then Buffy grabs a hold of the net and picks her whole bottom half of her body up and uses the blade on her ice skate to slit his throat.
That happens.
It's so great. I think it's my favorite kill so far.
Have you ever seen somebody get their throat cut and then not bleed at all?
No, but you told me it was because it was on the WB and they probably couldn't show it.
I did tell you that.
So I don't know if
And
that's
I stand
true.
by it.
Because I was really excited because there's nothing more powerful than blood trickling out over ice or snow. It's a very powerful image. So when it happened,
Right.
I was like really excited for the image, and then I didn't get
you
it.
were just really excited for that pool of blood to start growing.
Yeah, but this is kill. I don't know if you've ever watched Lost. There's an episode of Lost where Saeed kills a guy with his thighs. He like snaps the guy's neck using his thigh muscles.
Hell yeah.
And it has stayed with me forever because I was like, that is amazing. Like, what a sick kill. And I put this kill right up there with it. It was a great kill by Buffy.
Ugh, and what a perfect man. Okay.
Saeed?
Yes.
I think people might have thought you were talking about Sabretooth.
Sabretooth? No. Saeed is a perfect man.
Yes,
okay,
Saeed is
so Drusilla can feel him die.
Yes.
He dies, and we see her flip his card over.
Mm-hmm. And I'm confused because Drusilla says there's 3, but Giles says they will come forever. And so maybe you know does Drusilla know that only 3 of them are on the case? Was Giles wrong?
The way that I interpreted it, and I don't remember if we get any more information about this, was that Spike was like, yo, Order of Terraka, and Drusilla had either just flipped over these 3 cards or subsequently immediately flipped them over, and it was those 3.
Particular 3.
Yeah, so I don't know if, like, I don't know how Spike is, like, paying for this. Maybe he only paid for 3.
Right.
But who knows? Maybe we'll find out in part 2.
Yeah, because Giles makes it sound like
they'll just keep coming.
Well, because Giles, when he gives us the history or the like mythology of the Order of Terraka, we learn that they are so dangerous because they have no earthly desires. And so that's what I think threw me into confusion because, yeah, fine, maybe Spike paid 3 in quotes, but like it sounds by Giles' description that they don't care about money. They don't care about any, that their only desire is to hit their mark.
Hit their mark and collect their bounty.
So they do care only about money, but no other earthly desires. And that kind of brings us to this scene between Giles and Buffy and the Scooby Gang, where he scares the shit out of Buffy. Giles does, or at least Giles in combination with Angel. And it leads to this scene where Buffy is walking down the school hallway. And there are a couple of like funny moments in the scene, like when the teacher combing his hair, like hits this sound cue, right? Like that's pretty great. But it's like Buffy's kind of having an anxiety attack of some form, I think, in this scene. And I say that as somebody who has had anxiety attacks where, she's really just like the world is kind of like closing in on her. And she doesn't know like what is real and what is not kind of a deal. And she winds up, pinning Oz up against the wall. And then she like she's kind of like in a daze. She walks to her house. She passes her house. And of course she eventually winds up at Angel's. She's really scared. And this is really only like maybe the 3rd time we've seen Buffy this scared, or, seen Buffy scared. One being, of course, she was afraid of the ventriloquist dummy. She had a very off episode, that episode. But then, Prophecy Girl.
Right.
She's obviously very scared. But she has 2 people who usually are trusting her to fight, telling her to hide. So you kind of get where her fear is coming from. And lucky for us, that means we get to see a whole bunch of the inside of Angel's apartment.
Yes.
We've seen the fridge before.
Right. I feel like his apartment was sadder the last time we were there. And now it has a statue in a glass case with some very museum-like lighting.
Very nice desk area. I like Angel's desk area.
That workstation.
Right? A good chair. His tousled twin bed covers.
Oh, is it a twin?
It's very small, yeah. It's a very small bed, which it does not add up to as Angel to me. I feel like if Angel would have like a king size bed with red velvet blankets, which he does have the blankets, but like the bed, I would have thought it would be bigger. But yeah, so we get to see Angel's apartment. Buffy is staying there, hiding.
Yeah, and she kind of falls asleep.
Yeah, and this also like reminded me of the fact that in the 90s, because I was like, man, Joyce is away. Like the only way that Joyce can reach Buffy is by calling the house phone.
And Buffy's not there.
And Buffy's not there. And Buffy, like, hasn't really been there. And it reminded me of the fact that, now, your kid goes, whatever, you can reach them at any point in
Constant
time.
contact.
Constant contact.
What's that song you're singing?
Constant craving?
Oh, I don't know that song.
What? Jenny.
Anyway.
Okay. We'll talk about that off air. But yeah, so, I just remembered that, like, my mom couldn't reach me unless I was in a place where she knew where I was. It's just a different way of being a parent back then.
Yeah.
Anyway, luckily, I don't think Joyce calls.
Right.
So
She's
we're
busy
fine.
with art. I want to hop back for just a second
Yeah.
because there's something that nobody cares about except me that I'd like to talk about, and something that's important to
I
the
am
arc
certain
here.
that at least one other person cares about whatever it is you're going to say.
Okay, well, the thing that I care about is that they just slice the Terraka Sabretooth guy's throat with an ice skate and leave him there on the ice. When the rink opens tomorrow, do the rink attendants just happen upon...
They get that old Zamboni out, you know what I mean?
Oh, boy, I know what you mean.
I just really wanted an excuse to say Zamboni, so
Yeah,
thank you.
found it.
Thank
That's
you for
great.
giving it to me.
Now, the second thing about that scene that I'd like to mention that we didn't mention is that a beautiful woman in silk pajama bottoms sees Buffy making out with a vampire.
Oh, right, of course. Sorry, I did miss
So
that.
that
That's a key moment.
is important.
And she is like, what the fuck?
Yes.
That's her inner monologue. And then
Angel pays a visit to his old pal Willie, the
Willie.
bartender, the demon bartender.
Willie doing his best job at the stereotype of an Italian barkeep.
Yeah.
Which I enjoy as an Italian.
Right.
Sorry, I know.
Feels like home.
Feels like home because, stereotypes, sometimes they're real accurate. And let me tell you what, I know a lot of Willies. That's all.
I know some Willies too. I'm from New Jersey.
Great.
You're from Long Island.
Yeah, a lot of Willies in Long Island.
And New Jersey.
In New Jersey and on Long
there
Island.
There it is.
That is how you say those things. Right.
So while Angel is questioning Willie, the reluctant snitch, somebody shows up and thwops him over the head.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful woman in silk pajama bottoms.
Angel really milks the head shaking after punch situation. I feel like every time Angel gets punched, there's like an extra couple
There's
seconds.
Like a boing.
Yeah.
And while they're fighting, we see the silk pajama bottom wearing beautiful woman speak for the first time.
Does she speaks while they're fighting? I thought she spoke for the first time once she locked him in the cage.
Well, she actually says, "Now I think it's funny," and then closes the door.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so this is the point at which I would like for you to share what you learned on the internet. Right.
Well, you had told me this because Jenny has watched a lot of the DVD commentaries. Well,
Yes,
I think
have.
that's a good resume builder for this
Thank
podcast.
you.
And so you had told me before this because when we first watched the series together, I was like, "What is the deal with her accent? Like, come on, like what? It sounds so." To me, it sounded like very inauthentic. It sounded off the mark. It sounded almost like a stereotype of a Jamaican accent. And Jenny let me know that on the DVD commentary, Marty Noxon actually talks about the fact that Kendra, I named her. Was I allowed to name her now?
Now is a good time.
Great. Kendra was not intended to have an accent initially. It was a last-minute decision. They brought a dialect coach to set who, for whatever reason, trained her to speak in this very specific accent, this very specific accent from an obscure region of Jamaica. And then I'm reading now from Buffy's wiki that says cast, crew, fans, and even Bianca Lawson herself have stated that it sounded like a very bad impersonation of a common Jamaican accent. So
Yes.
Yeah, so this is just one of those things where, something happened that was off the mark. It wasn't done for lack of try. It was like almost like they tried so hard. This guy, whoever the dialect coach was, tried so hard to make it something that it wound up sounding like not a good thing. Not a great thing. So Kendra is like, yo, the light's going to come in and kill you. Peace out.
Right.
You're a vampire.
Also, somehow Angel's shirt gets like totally opened. while
Somehow
they fight.
Angel's shirt always gets totally, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Angel's always like, oops.
Oh, my buttons just keep falling off.
And so then, Willow's asleep at the library, which is important because when she wakes up,
She says, "Don't warn the tadpoles."
don't warn the tadpoles. And we learn that Willow has a fear of frogs.
Great.
Great little character thing to note.
And then Giles informs her, like, "Oh, I figured out what the book is for. It's how to heal a vampire who is very sick." And Willow's like Drusilla.
And Cordelia and Xander have been sent to Buffy's house to see where she is.
And you know what's a great outfit to wear when you're on the hunt to find out where your friend is? Take a polo shirt, but then cut the sleeves off, but then make it extra long so it's a dress, and then tie a sweater around your waist.
Yes.
Do all those things.
My sexuality is Cordelia's Saturday looks.
Wow.
Sorry, but I'm into Cordelia's Saturday digs. And this moment that happens between Cordelia and Xander was actually, people tweeted this at us constantly when we were before the election cycle, this last election.
Oh, yes.
When we were in the locker room segment of the nightmare that is the current administration, because we get the line verbatim from Xander here, where Xander, Cordelia is like, "Why'd you call me just to get a ride? What am I, mass transportation?" Mm-hmm. Xander says, "Well, that's what a lot of the guys say, but that's just locker room talk."
The patriarchy. Hard at work.
Hard at work. This is blatant patriarchy at work here. Cordelia doesn't miss a beat. She comes right back with a retort for Xander. And I would like for us to play the Cordelia jingle for a different reason this week. For the reason of, Cordelia, we love you and we are sorry that you have to deal, like the rest of us, with the patriarchy.
Nice.
Cordelia, I love you, Cordelia. You're perfect, Cordelia.
Yeah. So then Norman Pfister shows up and he's all like, "Rap-a-tap-tap." And Cordelia's like, "Yes." And he's like, "Would you like some free makeup samples?" And here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I buy Cordelia's like extreme enthusiasm about free
it being
samples.
free.
I feel like she has a bar of like
Yeah.
what kind of quality
Right.
of cosmetics she's using. And like I feel like she has a routine and a thing worked out.
Yeah, like Cordelia wants to pay a lot of money for whatever she is using.
So
It's part of her like status situation.
yeah, so this is a small hole for me. But I'm willing to look past it. And we'll find out next week what the result of Norman Pfister entering the Summers home is.
Gosh, I know. That's why these to be continued episodes are they just kill me. They just kill me.
Yeah.
So right, Cordelia and Xander are in the house with Worm Man. That's the last we see of them before the episode ends. Angel is locked in a cage where the sunlight is slowly creeping towards him. He can't break the bars. Really intense stuff happening. And Kendra and Buffy. Now, here's my thing with Kendra here. She's a vampire slayer. So, right? She's Kendra. She says, actually, why don't we, if there were ever to be an audio clip that we shared for this episode,
Yes.
let's actually hear Kendra tell Buffy who she is.
Who are you?
Who am I? You attacked me. Who the hell are you?
I'm Kendra, the vampire slayer.
Okay, so wow.
Yeah.
That's a big reveal, everyone. What is she talking about? She's a vampire slayer.
Yeah, what the fuck?
There's only one vampire slayer, and it's Buffy. But if we are to believe Kendra that she is a vampire slayer, what kind of vampire slayer is she? Then she is knocking out the airplane guy who was just a person not doing anything, because Buffy wouldn't do that to a person. And also, there's got to be a moment. I get it if she thinks that Buffy is a vampire because Buffy was making out with Angel and she saw whatever. But like at some point during this fight, I think earlier on in this fight than what we see, Kendra would have probably been like, "You're not a vamp. Like you didn't turn into vamp face when I started fighting you. That's a given." So I just find that a little bit odd, but I'm willing to let it go because I love this fight scene.
So great.
This is a great fight scene. I also love the moment where Buffy calls out, like, don't make me do that girl fight thing.
Yes.
I think that's fun.
Nails and hair.
Mm-hmm.
Then the old curtain over the head trick.
Oh, the old Buffy's, one of Buffy's top moves. The
Yep.
old drape ya and then kick ya.
Yeah.
Put this drape over your head and now I've got you. But yeah, they have a great fight here. A lot of good moves. Buffy gets thrown, breaks a table, the whole thing, and then they have what's really beautiful, the ending scene of this episode where they're sort of both like in fight stance, asking each other like, "Who are you and who are you?" We get this reveal. I'm Kendra, the Vampire Slayer. What? To be continued.
So great.
The only thing we didn't do is the Sexual Tension Award.
Yeah, so many great options.
Yeah, a lot of great options this episode. I agree.
Like Willow and Career Week.
Yeah. Yep.
Oz and the Canapé.
Oz and the Canapé for sure in the running.
Hot, hot, hot.
Mm-hmm.
Principal Snyder and Authority.
Yes. So many places that we see sexual tension.
Mhm,
I
mhm.
personally would like to give it, though, to Buffy and Vamp Face Angel.
Yeah.
I think they deserve it.
It's
think
real.
It is real. It's very real. I also want to give it to them because I'm sure that filming that makeout scene was hilarious.
With all of those
With all that vamp
prosthetics and
makeup.
mhm.
Oh, God, they had to have such a good time doing that.
No doubt.
It just seems, real hilarious. So congratulations, Buffy and Angel. You have won.
Your trophy's in the mail.
Yeah, you'll see it soon.
Thanks so much for joining us this week. I'm Jenny Owen Youngs, and when I'm not watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer, I'm writing songs and recording those songs. You can learn more about me and hear some of those songs at jennyowenyoungs.com/buffering. And you can give me a shout on Twitter at Jenny Owen Youngs.
And I'm Kristen Russo. You can find me on Twitter at Kristen Nolene. And you can also learn more about my work with Everyone is Gay and My Kid is Gay, 2 organizations that I run for LGBTQ young people and their families, as well as, all the other stuff I do over on my website at KristenNoline.com. That is KristinnOeline.
You can find Buffering the Vampire Slayer on Facebook and Twitter at BufferingCast. And you can drop us an email at bufferingthevampireslayer@gmail.com.
You can support our work by heading on over to our Patreon page, patreon.com/bufferingcast. You can give at the $1, $5, or $10 level and get all sorts of fun things, notably the MP3 files of the songs that we put up every week, Q&A videos with Jenny and I, spoilers that Jenny has accidentally dropped on live episodes, and all other sorts of really fun things. You can also head on over to that Patreon page to see the picture that Jenny and I took of ourselves dressed as ourselves in 1997.
Hell yes.
Everyone can see that. You don't even have to be a patron. One more time, just so you know, up on our website, bufferingthevampireslayer.com, you can also get that free download of Demons to Fight, the song that Jenny wrote to celebrate 20 years of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And, of course, if you have good things to say, we would love to hear them, most notably as an iTunes review. So if you want to head on over there and leave us a good review, we would be forever indebted to you. And I said last but not least, but there is one more thing. Just a reminder that we have new stuff in our store. We have patriarchy shirts. We have fighting shirts. We have buffering shirts. We've got Cordette and Slayerette pins. We've got new pins that are made by Christine Tuna that are a Slayer hand with a stake in it.
Hell yeah.
There's a lot of fun stuff over there, and you can find that also on our website. Thank you so much for all that you do to support us. This podcast is becoming better and better every day because of you and all that you do to keep us going. So thanks.
Thank you so much. Till next time.
Ow!
It's career week at my high school. Too bad my story is written in stone. Like going to see The Sixth Sense and somebody ruin the end. Already know just what my future holds. I'm the Slayer, I'm the only one. I'll be fighting till my days are done. You're the only freaky thing in my freaky life that still makes sense. You're angel are scared, and I'm feeling underprepared. The walls are closing and my vision's blurred. I'm the slayer, I'm the only one. Might be hiding till my days are done. You're the only freaky thing in my freaky life that still makes sense. You're the only freaky thing in my freaky life that still makes sense. Someone attacks me, her name is Kendra. Says she's a slayer to be continued.
Hi, I'm Dana Schwartz, and this is Rise or Die, the official companion podcast for Peacock's original series, Those About to Die. On this podcast, I go behind the scenes with the show's cast and creators to learn how they brought their brutal vision of Rome to life. I talked to acclaimed director and executive producer Roland Emmerich,
When I saw the first race, I was like giddy.
actor Ewan Ryan,
For an actor, that's a dream, although you do get a lot of sand in your sandals.
and so many more.
You helped summon those ghosts back onto that stage.
Every day when I went to set, I was giggling about what I saw.
I think it's going to be a breathtaking thing.
Gosh, people will freak out.
Rise or Die launches on July 18th. Watch or listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, this is Rob Benedict.
And I am Richard Spate. We were both on a little show you might know called Supernatural.
It had a pretty good run, 15 seasons, 327 episodes.
And though we have seen, of course, every episode many times, we figured, hey, now that we're wrapped, let's watch it all again.
And we can't do that alone, so we're inviting the cast and crew that made the show along for the ride. We've got writers, producers, composers, directors, and we'll of course have some actors on as well, including some certain guys that played some certain pretty iconic brothers.
It was kind of a little bit of a left field choice in the best way possible.
The note from Kripke was, he's great, we love him, but we're looking for like a really intelligent Duchovny type.
With 15 seasons to explore, it's going to be the road trip of several lifetimes. So please join us and subscribe to Supernatural then and now.